Hello, happy holidays. Welcome to the Canyons Are Calling podcast. So, I know I'm a couple days late with this interview because I had a different one in line. And when I went to edit it, I realized that certain chords do not actually go to the computer from my little podcast device. And so my guest was actually not recorded. And I tried to fix it and it sounded like he was in a box and it was horrible. So I have this new equipment. I have way better audio capabilities available to me. So we just decided that we would re-record that interview. And so I'll have the Zion Trifecta interview with Buzz Burrell coming up next time. But in the meantime, I just had to make some time to re-edit a different podcast, that interview that I had. So today I have on Tobias Beiser, Tobias. I always say that wrong. As a Utahn, I am so sorry, Tobias. So I came across him in Uray when they played some of his videos called Descending Nature, and his YouTube videos are incredible. They're super short little videos of their excursions out in these amazing Class C canyons. And so I have a link to his YouTube channel in the show notes. It's just Tobias Beiser, Tobias Beiser at YouTube. And go on there and check out his videos. They just get you pumped to go out in the canyons. So I just wanted to get him on and talk about how he does his filming and talk about the canyons in Austria. So enjoy the show. So today we have with us Tobias Beiser, and I ran across Tobias, his videos at the Uray Canyon Festival. They played some of his videos one of the nights that we were watching things, and his YouTube videos were incredible. So I just wanted to reach out to him and see if he would want to come on the pod and talk about the places that he's gone and how he creates his videos and whatever else. So welcome to the show, Tobias. Thank you very much for your time.
Hi, thank you for having me.
So first of all, you are from Australia, is that right?
No, from Austria. That's in Europe.
Austria, okay. I'm dyslexic and my brain sometimes just totally sees what it wants to. So that's awesome.
Most people confuse those two places, so it's fine.
They have a lot of the same letters.
You're not the first person that's like, oh, you're from Australia, cool. It's like it happens a lot.
Well, so then that makes more sense as to why you don't have any Australian canyons on your videos, because that was what I was kind of wondering. It's like, why does he have all these European canyons? Because Australia has cooler canyons.
Yeah, well, Austria is next to Switzerland, so I think that's where I'm home at most.
Okay. So how did you get into the outdoors?
I'm not sure how it happened. It just has always been part of my life, I guess. I think my father introduced me to it when I was very, very young. Um, he was always like this dad who would take me and my brother outside and is like, nah, get out of the house, let's do something, let's get on some adventures. He always used to go with us into the woods for little hikes, even if the weather was like pretty bad. And I think I did my first canyon when I was like 6 years old. It just took me and I was like, he showed me this new world I didn't know existed before and was like, God damn, this is like I want to do this forever. And he only took me once though. And then he just went on his adventures, showed me some pictures of his trips when he got home. And it was always like, can you take me again? I want to go again. Please take me with you. And he never took me because he said like I was too young for the bigger canyons and stuff, which I can understand now. But I still always wanted to go. And then he took me again when I was like 12, and it's been part of my life ever since.
That's incredible. 6 years old going canyoning.
I
That,
can't remember much of it. I saw some picture and was like, wait, that's me? I can't remember any of it. But yeah, it's funny looking back.
that's awesome. So now I saw that you're a guide. Are you a canyon guide as well
Yeah,
as going to university?
I did lots of canyoning like for myself, just me and my little brother hopping through some little canyons in Austria, in our neighborhood, and then I decided to take it a bit serious, and like inscribed for an education, like an official one in Austria. Took the course in, I think it was summer 2020, like it's almost 3 years ago. Wow. um, and yeah, I've been a guide ever since.
Very cool. So your videos are incredible. What inspired you to
Thank you.
start doing the YouTube videos?
Well, during the education, I was like, I'm super amazed by this. I had my little GoPro which I took everywhere because I had a GoPro. I don't know why I had one, but it was just fate that I took it with me to the canyons and like started filming all those canyoning videos you see everybody make with the GoPro. And that's when I basically got to meet most of my canyoning friends, was during the course. Um, and I went with them, and the flow with them was super great. They liked my filming style, how I move in the canyons, how I film them and stuff. And so it just grew a little bit from there. And then after the first two videos, I was like, I'm not happy with the GoPro footage anymore. Like, I was just starting out. I never edited the video before that. I did two videos with the GoPro and was like, nah, it just doesn't look as professional or as good as I wanted to. And so I started doing some research into how can I even get a better image quality. I first tried some settings on the GoPro, which didn't work. And eventually I came to the realization that I actually gotta buy a really expensive proper camera. And then the next questions were like, how do I use this camera in the canyons without it getting destroyed?
Right.
Yeah.
Because you guys are doing classy flowing canyons. You're not doing these dry canyons that I have in the desert. You're
Yeah,
actually
that's
in water.
the thing. Like, European canyons are completely different than American ones. Like, Americans are really big and I think mostly dry, or the water isn't flowing as much. And it's more about like squeezing and climbing over stuff. In Europe, it's just like, if you can jump down there, you probably should jump down there. No rope needed. Yeah, and the environment is like super hard for the camera. You need to protect it against the water. It's like the first thing that comes to mind, but nobody thinks about all the hits the camera takes when it's in the backpack, when you're like squeezing through somewhere, or the camera just gets abused all the time.
Yeah. How do you mitigate that?
I got a what's it, like waterproof case, so to say. Um, it looks like a condom. You pull over the camera. It has a front piece, a glass piece on the front on the lens, and a glass piece on the screen in the back, so you can see everything. And the rest is like a thick rubber coating, which is like super flexible, which is nice because it's doesn't have to be manufactured to the specific lens or camera you're using. And so you can just throw whatever lens you want on there without worrying if it's gonna fit or not, like with the diving housings. And against the shocks and hits for the camera, like when I'm having it in the backpack, I just put it in a pillowcase, and which keeps it safe mostly. I still wouldn't throw my bag anywhere down, like more than 2 meters. But yeah, it does a good job.
Nice. Yeah, that's always scary to bring. I used to bring like a cannon through the canyons, and it would always get super dusty here and stuff. And I wasn't doing videos or taking great pictures with it anyway, so I stopped taking it. But yeah, I know what you mean with the
Wanna
bumps
take it
and the
again?
hits. I should probably dig it out. It does better pictures than my cell phone
Yeah,
for
sure,
sure.
go for it.
For sure. I have a friend Eric that brings his camera through. He has like a big keg that he brings through, and
Yeah.
then all of his stuff. He gets
Yeah,
some
the keg
incredible
usually
shots.
is like a problem if the camera doesn't sit good in it. Like it's not protected against the shocks if you bump it against a rock or something. That's
Yeah.
why I bring a pelly case.
Yeah, I think that he has like a lot of t-shirts in there, but there was one time it didn't seal properly and it leaked. And I think with the Pelican case, it's like a more like a briefcase, right? And so there's
Yeah.
no way you can improperly seal it.
Well, it leaks as well. It's like that's why I got two solutions
The
for my
river
camera.
thing,
One for the waterproofness and the pellet case against like just the regular abuse it gets in the canyons.
bumps and stuff. That makes sense. How heavy is your equipment?
Probably weights more or less the same as everyone else's equipment. I don't bring a rope, but I bring everything else because I can't fit the rope into my bag at the moment of my setup. So I'm always like
Right.
dependent on the other people to bring the ropes and carry them. But it doesn't mean like my backpack is lighter or than theirs because usually my backpack is a little bit bigger because it has to fit the pellet case. I think I have the biggest backpack of all of us, and it's basically the same weight.
Nice. Teamwork.
I think I'm heavier when I'm on the way up. Then I'm definitely heavier, but once the rope get wet, it's like it's the same.
Right. That makes sense. Nice. So, what are some of your favorite canyons that you've done?
Oh, depends entirely on the mood I'm in. Like right now, I could really go for a trip to Lodrino, which is like the main canyon in Switzerland, in Ticino. It's just like it has it all. It has huge upsells, lots of fun slides, lots of fun jumps. It's like it's perfect, and it's not too short either. So you're gonna spend your whole day in there,
Nice.
which I really like. If canyons are longer, it's like you start early, you spend the whole day in the canyon, and at the end of the day, you just come out and we're like, what just happened today? And then you can talk about so much at the end of the day in the campfire. I love longer canyons.
What's the longest jump that you've done?
The highest jump I've done is probably somewhere around 20 to 22 meters. I'm not sure how high it was. Everybody says something different,
22
but
meters
somewhere
in the
around 20
feet.
meters. I don't know how high that is in foot.
I'm going to look it up real quick. For us dumb Americans, 72 feet. And that's pretty high.
That sounds a lot higher than 20 meters.
Yeah, it does. That's crazy. Um,
Young
yeah,
and dumb.
that would be intimidating, I think. That's
Yeah,
crazy.
the thing is with jumping from such heights, it's like you either jump want to get to the edge or you don't jump at all. The longer you think about it, the less like you're gonna do it.
Yeah, I could see that. I would
That's
probably, yeah, way overthink it and
that's
then
my
talk myself out
philosophy
of it.
behind it. I'm just like I'm walking up to the ledge and like, where do I have to jump? Somebody points me in a direction. I'm like, all right, just go. Don't think about it. Just go.
Just go. Are you having somebody check the depth of it before you jump, or do you know that it's deep enough for you to be able to
Um,
not hit the bottom?
Depends. Sometimes we know the locals around the canyons, so we can ask them, hey, are all the jumps okay? Which jump is not okay? And then like all jumps are good, or you gotta watch out on this jump, and they show it on the map of the canyon. And if we don't know the locals, like somebody always had to go first and check out the jumps. Nowadays it's me because I can't jump with my camera. So they always lower me down, I check the jump and I film from the bottom, which is
Oh,
like fine. Works well for all of us. I don't have to worry about damaging my camera and the others can have their fun.
have some safety to know that they're not going to hit rocks or the bottom. That's awesome.
Yeah.
You have some acrobats in your crew. They do
Yeah,
flips and all sorts of stuff on those jumps. It's pretty fun to watch.
I think it just like grew over time. Like in the beginning, I think most of us couldn't even do a proper backflip. And the more I kept filming, the more the guys kept pushing themselves and were like, I gotta get those jumps right. And they started training a little bit. Like during summer, we don't usually go to too many trips because everybody's busy, like working, guiding, and the people you see in the videos, they're like training the whole summer when they're with guests, like on the easy jumps, doing the flips and trying something new. It's incredible to watch that progression.
That's awesome. That's a good way to up your tips too if they're doing flips and entertaining their
Yeah,
guests.
the guests are always like, "What did you just do? Oh my God!" Because for
Right.
guests, canyoning is like completely different. If you jump from 5 meters as a guide, it's like no problem. You can do it blind. You can try tricks of it. You're not afraid. But
Yeah.
for a guest, 5 meters are a lot.
I used to do this one little down climb and people would just be blown away and I was like, it's so easy, but
Yes,
it's
exactly.
kind of similar to a flip. We don't have water here. That's awesome. So what's the best time of year to do canyons in your area?
In my area, it's probably from the best time is from I think April until end of October, like when most canyons are possible. Now the winter season has started, which is like my favorite season right now, probably because I was looking forward to it all year long. Which is where you get to enjoy some of the extreme canyons, like underneath the glaciers, and they only become possible around this time of the year because in summer and spring and whatever time of the year it is where it's not cold outside, the glacier is like melting super fast, which means there's too much water in the canyons. And now that everything is freezing up again, the water levels drop significantly. Which, like, if you've seen the Gamshi video, it's incredible how these canyons are shaped. They're like so deep into the earth, no light reaches the bottom. It's incredible.
Yeah, I was gonna say you have that one video where you are hiking in the snow and through the ice, and then it gets so dark. Everybody's using their headlamps, and yeah, it looks
Yeah, you
really
can't
really
see
cool.
anything. It's like in a cave. There's zero lights. We put out our headlights and it was like complete darkness, and just the water noise was super loud. It's crazy.
You have drone video from the end of it, right? Where you look
Yes.
at the slot in the canyon and you can tell just how tight that area is. It's
Yeah.
so
You wouldn't
tight.
expect a canyon in there. It's like there's a canyon in there. Looks more like a cave
Yeah, that looks really cool. Where was that canyon again?
in central Switzerland.
Okay. Gamshi is what it was called?
Yes,
Okay.
exactly.
Yeah, that looks
That's where
really
I'm
fun.
going, like to the same area. That's where I'm going next weekend, probably.
Nice. I'm gonna have to
But
plan a trip
the,
out that way.
hmm?
I'm gonna have to plan a trip out that way. The canyons just look
You
incredible.
definitely should. You
Yeah.
definitely should.
I
It's
did
a
a
once in a lifetime experience.
Yeah. I did an interview with Danielle Monroy. She's a canyoneer here from California, and she said that I can't say that word,
Ticino.
Ticino, Switzerland was like her favorite place to go.
Yeah, it's like most people call it the paradise of canyoning because the watercolor is something you won't see anywhere else in the canyons. It's completely clear. It has this greenish color in it, and it's absolutely beautiful. The rocks are like all completely smooth and so many different jumps and slides, and the possibilities are endless.
Oh,
It's like beauty meets fun. That's the Gino. Everybody gets a slice of their cake.
Disneyland. That's awesome.
The Disneyland of canyoning.
That sounds so cool. Is that the same season, April through October?
Yeah, but not all canyons are possible from April to the end of October. It depends. Some canyons are super fun in the early season, but become like boring and stinking as the water level goes down.
Oh, that makes sense.
Because in spring you got all the snow melt. Um, so we do the canyons that usually are boring or dry. Um, they're super fun in spring. In summer you do like the aquatic ones, like Lodrino, Irania, or like two of the more popular canyons. They're like possible from I think June or July. I think July is like a good time of the year to go there. Um, and then in fall, some other canyons open up again, which carry too much water for the full time of the year, and in fall they become accessible.
Nice.
It depends. It's like you gotta
Yeah.
do some research. There's lots of resources out there, but the canyon characteristics change like throughout the season.
Yeah, I feel
That's
like that's
what
kind
I
of typical to everywhere.
Yeah, but that's what I really like about it. It's like you can do it all year long. I mean, most people don't do it in winter or fall, but you can do it, and I like that possibility.
Just get the proper clothes and airs so you can stay warm.
Yeah, it it means like I can go snowboarding on one day, and the next day I'm jumping through some canyons with my friends, and everybody of my I say regular friends that don't do canyoning is like, "Are you nuts? What's wrong with you? Why why would you do that?"
It's an addiction.
It's an addiction indeed.
Well, I know that canyoneering makes me super hungry. So, what is your favorite in canyon snack?
Most of the time I forget my snacks. We usually just bring like some chocolate bars. Um, that's like the maximum we bring usually because our expeditions are usually how long? I think at most we spend 6 hours in a canyon, which is manageable.
Yeah.
We can, you don't have to bring any water in, I think most of Europe, probably. So you can always drink the water from the canyons,
Like drinking right from
which,
the stream? Do you have to filter it?
yes, no,
Wow.
depends on the canyon. Sometimes we bring a filter, sometimes we don't, and you really gotta watch out for dead animals upstream.
Yeah.
But then it's fine.
Wow. That's
So you just have to
incredible.
bring some snacks, like one or two chocolate bars, and you're gonna be fine. When we went to Oman, the story, however, was a little bit different because in Oman the water was not really drinkable. I think we didn't dare to drink the water, so we had to bring water into the canyon, and the canyons as well were like longer than we're used to, so we brought lots of food. It's like usually everybody in our group carries a rope, and that's it. And then we in Oman we really had to think about who brings a rope, who has to bring a rope, and everybody that doesn't have a rope or a camera like me brings either food or water, and we really had to plan.
How long were the canyons there?
I think in the topo it says like 3 hours drive and then 10 hours in the canyon. It's like 13 hours for a whole day. We managed to do, I think the canyon was called Wadi TV, which is one of the bigger canyons there. The drive up was still 3 hours, can't do anything about it, but I think we spent 6 hours total in the canyon. Most of it was swimming, which was really exhausting.
Wow. That does sound
Um,
exhausting.
but it was definitely awesome. Like the canyon itself was just, I still can't find any words to describe it. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, that one looked really fun too. I'm like, oh man, I gotta go to oh man. That's awesome.
I heard the joke too many times.
I bet you have. Yeah, it just inspires me to like want to world travel.
What I really love about canyoning, like it brought me to so many places I would have never expected to end up in. Like Oman, when would I think about, yeah, I'm gonna go to Oman once in my life. It just happened and I'm like, wow, I'm really here.
Yeah. And that's the cool thing about this podcast. I mean, like, I know that there's canyons all over the world, right? But then to like talk to the people about them and see them and like learn more regions that have them, it just blows my
And
mind. Like, they're
the
literally
canyons are
everywhere.
they're also different.
Yeah,
Every country has a different characteristic of the canyon.
exactly.
You can never get enough of it.
Yeah.
It's like once you're bored of the European canyons, which hopefully I will never be, I just move to America or whatever
Come
because
to
they
the
have
desert
different canyons.
canyons.
Or if I don't like desert canyons, I probably move to like a jungle country.
Yep.
Like I think
Costa Rica has some
Costa
great
Rica has
canyons.
some really good canyons. And there are also some islands in the Atlantic which have phenomenal canyons.
America also has some wet canyons, like Uray, Colorado, the Pacific Northwest, California, and I also just found out like New York and New Jersey. So that's pretty exciting. Georgia.
Yeah, but that's like, I don't even think the most of American canyoneers know that they're like wet canyons. I think most American canyoneers like comfortable in the dry canyons. They don't usually like to get wet.
It's expanding for sure.
I
Yeah.
hope so because you guys are missing out.
Yeah. It's definitely expanding. It like the Pacific Northwest for sure. They're exploring the Olympics and the Cascades, and they're going through the same thing with you are with the glaciers and having to wait until the water levels freeze up again to get low, and it's pretty exciting.
Yeah, the risk just increases, but it's definitely worth it.
Yeah.
Do um you guys have sandstone over there, right?
Yeah, in the Zion area, it's mostly sandstone.
In the Sign area, but in the wet canyons?
Um, I know Uray
Because like
is not. It's more granite and limestone. I'm not really sure in the Pacific
because
Northwest.
in America you use like different rappelling devices, like us in Europe. We use the aluminum ones, super light, super flexible, and you use like the steel ones. How is the one called where you can ditch on those different bars to add brakes?
What I use is aluminum. It's a either a critter or a
Oh, okay.
hoodoo. Yeah, it looks like a little dude, or like one looks kind of like a cross. The
Ah, yeah, okay.
hoodoo.
I think I know the one.
Yeah, that's what I like to use. I know some people that use like the rappel rack. Is that what you're talking about? Like a caver style
Yeah,
rack?
yes.
Yeah, some people use that, but
That's what I've
most of
seen
the
a lot.
people that I know in the canyoneering community do use the aluminum.
Like figure eight devices.
Yeah, similar to a figure
That's what
eight,
they're
but able to add
that's what
friction
they're
to
based
them.
on.
Yeah, basically. Some
Okay,
people
perfect.
want, like, I work for Imlay Canyon Gear, and they want Tom to do the critter out of stainless steel, but that would be so expensive and so heavy. It's just not feasible. So it would last longer, but it's just from a business standpoint, not feasible.
A guy I know who makes like canyoning specific gear, like brought out a rappelling device, which is like a figure eight one, or similar to the Petzer Piranha, but in steel, especially for the American canyons.
Yeah, because the sandstone definitely wears them out faster. Like you can go through one canyon here called Spry. It's really, really sandy. If it's in kind of wet conditions, you could destroy
Mm-hmm.
your rappel device in one day. It's kind of crazy.
Oh,
It's
that
kind of
sounds
sad.
expensive.
Right. If you know how to take care of your ropes and keep them out of the sand, it's helpful. But for newbies, it's a learning experience for
But
sure.
the sand is something we never have to think about here. It's like how you guys never have to think about water. It's like we're like sand. No, doesn't
Yeah.
matter.
It can be your nemesis for sure. It destroys everything.
Do
What
you bring
is,
like
huh?
extra rappel devices
I
if you
always
like
do,
enter?
for sure.
Okay.
Also, just in case you drop one, right?
Um,
I've had that
like my rappel device is mounted in a way that
Right.
it's almost impossible to drop it.
Yeah. Mine goes
Like it
through
has
like
some,
the O-ring and it's stuck onto the carabiner pretty good, but
yeah, same
I
with
don't know.
mine.
I
I
just,
really have to try to get it off the carabiner.
yeah. I just worry like you could drop the whole carabiner and everything. I
Well,
probably
then,
carried too much gear with me, but whatever. It's always safe. Better to be safe. Or if the person shows up with like an ATC and then you're like, hey, I have this extra device you
the
can try
HTC
out.
won't work.
I mean, they
I always
do, but
carry a second figure eight with me, just to like we build most of our systems with a figure eight, where we don't fix the rope completely, so we just put it against the anchor, and if something happens during the upsell, we can always what's it called? Pull a rope on the top and then lower the person down
yeah.
in case they have the hair stuck or anything in their upsell device.
Yeah. Or if the rope's too short or, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Because we don't usually know if the rope goes to the bottom, which is like, oh, it should be enough.
Right. Yeah, that's my favorite block to use if I can't see the bottom for sure. Yeah. And especially with clients and people that are new, like anything can happen. You can get anything stuck.
Yeah, with clients, I'm never put any rope in like fixed. I always be like, no matter what happens, I can get them down on this rope.
Yeah. Yeah, that's smart. That's
It's
awesome.
the way we learned it. It's how they taught it to us.
Yep.
But I think it's the right way because you can never underestimate guests or overestimate, whatever. Guests will always do something you have never thought of before.
Well, and also in flowing water, you need to be able to get them out quickly if they get stuck. So having a contingency plan is like absolutely
We don't
needed.
usually like do canyons with dangerous flows with clients, and if we do it, we like secure the sections first so that nothing can happen. Especially
Totally
during summer, the
like,
water flow in the commercial canyons aren't that high, so it's like super easy for me. For the guests, it's still like, wow, I've never seen this. Wow, and then for me, it's like
yeah,
a
the
walk
guests
in
are
the
still
park.
blown away. You're like, this is so boring right now. But if you only knew.
I've run this canyon more than 100 times. I know where every rock is.
Yeah. I miss guiding. I've said that a few times, but I don't know.
You miss guiding. Have you been a guide before?
I was a canyon guide for a couple years, yeah. And that's
Why did you
what
quit?
the company I worked for went through a transition. And then I started working for Tom Jones and Emily Canyon Gear. So,
All right.
and then I consider going back to it part time, but I also don't want to give up my weekends. So I don't know.
I only do it on. I only guide on the weekends and when I'm probably like saving up for something. Under the week, I have my regular job, and then usually during summer, it's like perfect for me because I can earn some extra money. And yeah, always good.
Yeah. My husband and I talk about maybe like guiding on Fridays because we're both off on Fridays. And then, I mean, that would let us save for trips across the country, right? Across the world. We could
Yeah,
go to
that's usually why
Switzerland.
I do it. I
Something
work
to
like the whole
consider.
summer, and then I can go at the end of summer. I can book some trips or just go to more canyons, but newer canyons for me. It's also I have this really what's it called like this good. I'm not even employed. Like the companies that run the canyon in my area just write me a message. Are you free this weekend? We have a tour with so and so many guests, and I'm like, all right, I want to do it, or I can say, no, sorry, I don't have time. So I don't sacrifice my weekends for it. It's like if I have nothing better else to do on the weekend, then I can guide a tour and earn some money, or otherwise I do my private life.
That's awesome. That's really cool. Yeah, I need a setup like that where I can go if I want to or not. Have you done any of the canyons over here in America?
I haven't actually been to America at all
Okay.
yet. I mean, I've been to Hawaii once when I was like 12 years old, but not for canning, just for regular holidays. Didn't get the chance to go to America.
Nice. Maybe one day. We have some.
Hopefully one day. I'd love to go.
If you get to the Zion area, look me up.
I will let you know, definitely.
Anyway, let's see, we covered the in canyon snack, right? And then we got side railed.
Yes.
How about after canyons? What's your favorite after canyon beverage?
Cold beer.
Yes.
Cold beer definitely is a must. Like before we even hike up to the canyon, we're like, did somebody put the beer somewhere where it's cool afterwards? And then we usually like, I really like to go shopping after the canyon for like a barbecue, and it's good times around the campfire because we usually stay like in what's it called in camping areas. We sleep in our tents, like nothing fancy, and it's really nice to just chill there in your camping chair
Yeah.
around the campfire. Super fun.
Yeah. Those are the best excursions when you're just out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, you're just
Have your
sitting
dirt
there
bike
in a
friends.
complete shithole, nothing around you, and you're like, "This is I'm having the time of my life."
I
I love
agree.
those moments.
I agree. Is there a central piece of gear that you always carry with you?
Like besides the essential canyoning gear, I think it's like what's it called, a little case for my phone, which I can hang around my neck, so I can take some pictures with my phone as well, or some fun videos if I don't have to film anything serious with my big camera. What else? I think the rest is like the standard equipment we have in the canyons. I don't try to bring anything I don't need, because then I have to carry a lot more. Sometimes I bring like, what's it called? A drink with me, like with sugar in it, like a Coke or something like that, which helps a lot. If the can is longer and you don't have any food or time to take a break, it's like just get the bottle out, take a little sip, and you have some energy.
Yeah. Sometimes sugar is important. I try to eat a non-sugar diet, but sometimes you just need that extra
Sugar
rush
is
for
really
sure.
important in the canyons.
Yeah, in the canyons
I mean,
when you're
it doesn't
exerting
matter that
yourself,
much.
for sure. If you could go anywhere in the world, where would you go and why?
For canyoning, I got lots of destinations I want to go. I think the nearest one is like probably to France. This is like one of the goals for next summer. But I would also love to go to New Zealand. America was always on the list. Also Iran, but Iran and America is gonna be a problem. Like, you gotta decide which one you want, or you can't do the other. Also Costa Rica would be really fun. I saw the canyons in the jungle. It's like super beautiful. Madeira is also on the list, like the little island in the Atlantic from Portugal. Also, I think it's called La Réunion, which is like a French island in the middle of the Pacific. It's also like an incredible place. I got so many places I want to go. I could talk
You
forever
have a
about them,
list, yeah.
but I leave it like at the top five.
Nice. I think your top five and my top five are pretty close. Definitely. I would go to Costa Rica again. It's got some great canyons there. And if you go, reach out to me. I know some people out there that I can hook you up with that do some
Perfect.
canyons and first ascents and stuff. Also, New Zealand is high on my list in Australia.
New Zealand looks beautiful. Like it looks similar to Switzerland, like, but it's also a little bit different. I don't know. I saw some picture and was like, I gotta go there, no question.
Yeah, and Switzerland's been high on my list. It's even higher now that I've been talking to you and watching your videos. But
Switzerland
yeah,
is really diverse. It offers something for every time of the year. If you come right now, it's winter, you can do the winter canyons. And during summer, the canyons are also really, really good. Like, I can't decide which season I like more.
that's awesome. Just all of them.
I mean, it's still probably gonna be summer because summer is like way more chill. You don't have to bring tons of gear and wetsuit, clothing and stuff to stay warm. But
Yeah.
winter also has something like I can't describe it. It's just I love canyoning in the winter.
Yeah, the ice and the snow definitely has its own beauty, and I feel like the
Yes.
earth is just more quiet in the winter.
Yeah, and also like those places are I don't know the extreme darkness and cold and everything. It puts your mind in a different headspace. That's what I really enjoy about it. Your thoughts go completely quiet, and you're
That's
just like, whoa, where am I? How did I get here? And why am I allowed to be here? It's beautiful.
that's awesome. That's I want to go. I'm gonna be daydreaming about canyons all day now.
I always do, like most of the time.
Winter European canyons. Awesome. Do you have any safety advice that you'd like to leave our listeners with?
Always check the weather. Always check the water levels.
Yeah, well said.
I think my dad entered a canyon once and was like, weather forecast is fine. Water levels seem fine. And then he got into the canyon and was like, yes, finally a canyon with a lot of water. And I think around the fourth bolt he realized they had a water intake on the top and they just opened it up and flooded the canyon basically.
Oh, wow.
And so he was in the canyon with like way too much water. He got out safely on the side, but he was like, nah, this can't be it. So like
Yeah.
top three safety advices, especially in wet canyons, is like check the weather forecast over and over the days, not just like before the canyon, but just check the day before and just see like how the weather changes over the days. Check the water levels at the exit and always check if the canyon has like a water intake, and if yes, always call and ask if it's okay to go.
Yeah, that's very, very smart. I know a couple places, one here and one in Costa Rica, where it's the same scenario that they can be releasing water and do not want to be downstream when they do.
It's like most canyons in Switzerland have a water intake on top. So
Okay.
like we're used to it, but if you're coming from somewhere where you're not used to it, you might
Right.
skip it. I mean, there are
Yeah.
huge signs on the bottom of the canyons like call this number for information on the water levels, and then it's also free to call there in Switzerland.
Yeah. So make
I mean, in
sure you
Ticino.
call. Make sure you call the number. Awesome. Well, how can people find you and watch your videos?
They can find me on YouTube or on Instagram. I would recommend YouTube because Instagram just screws over my video quality. And I think since 2 months ago, you can't even view them in full screen mode.
Oh, wow.
uh, yeah, that's something with their reels they're trying to push. But I won't get into that. It's none of my business. Um, they can find me on YouTube, Tobias Beiser, or just search for Descending Nature. That's what my videos are called. Yeah,
I'll have a
basically
link
that's
in the
it.
show notes too, so they can find you easy that way.
Thank you very much.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much for coming on the show today. I really appreciate your time.
Thank you for having me. It was my pleasure.
Yeah, the canyons are calling. We should probably go. Okay, well, that's my interview with Tobias. I hope you enjoyed our little chat. Like I said, I have a link to his YouTube channel in the show notes. So go on there and watch some of his videos and just get pumped about those European canyons. The water looks incredible. The rappelling, the flips, they look so fun. And I like the music that he chooses. It just kind of draws you in and gets you excited to get out there. So I look forward to more of his content and yeah, maybe in the future getting over to Switzerland and doing some of those canyons. That'd be really cool. If you enjoyed this show and the work that I put in to do with this podcast, you can please make donations to The Canyons Are Calling on patreon.com. With that, I do a monthly canyon call. So we get together the first Wednesday of every month and just chat about canyons for about an hour or so. Sometimes I have guests on, sometimes we just chat about whatever. We have a theme. Yeah, it's pretty fun getting to know the people that I have supporting the show. It's all just me doing all of this research and editing and interviewing, and it does take a little bit of time, a little bit of cash. So if you appreciate my time, just make a little donation. That would be awesome. Otherwise, I do have a website called thecanyonsarecalling.com where I have beer glasses and stickers and dog tug toys and little rope samples so you can practice tying knots and things like that. Stay efficient during this cold weather season. So if any of that interests you, all of those items help also support the show. So go on to The Canyons Are Calling, get yourself some products and support the show as well. Anyway, I know that you all have more things to do than listen to me ramble on. So have a wonderful holiday season and we'll talk to you in 2023.